Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today guys, I have got a ZvZ, it's a best of one ZvZ and it is between the red Zerg, ProxyMyu that is, and in the top left the blue Zerg, VFeston. Eston is in the top left as the blue Zerg as I just said, but it's a ZvZ, that means we should have some crazy hair-raising moments of Banelings versus Zerglings. We should have some brilliant infestor control, some real confusing bits where one person has roaches with something, the other person has roaches with something, and you're never quite sure who's going to win. And behind all of that, you're going to see lots of droning, because drones are drones are drones, and everyone loves making drones, especially Zergs. Anyway, what can we expect? Well, as I said, it's really hard to predict in ZvZ, because really the one thing I would say is currently neither player has built a spawning pool, which is usually quite a good sign that things aren't going to go too crazy. Eston, they're doing that little extractor trick to get the 11th drone out of 10 supply. Oh, sneaky little Eston there. Anyway, the map Ahana, it's quite a good map actually. I really like this map. It's really fun to play on. You've got obviously an expansion, relatively easy to hold due to no ramp. Two really quite distinctive attack paths. They're not huge. There's a little bit in the middle which I hardly ever actually see utilised. I don't think players really ever use that. It's got a lot of potential, like for flanks and things like that, just a small army in there and just dart out, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it. Third base, quite easy to take. Those rocks in the middle can be awkward, especially for Zerg, because Zerglings are terrible against rocks. Roaches, if they get out, that's the kind of time you'll expect to see the third base attempt. Now, Eston going for a hatch first, compared to a spawning pool first out of Myu, and, well, this should be pretty good, because on the one hand getting the hatchery out first means you do have better production, more income earlier, but the downside is your queen is delayed, and also the ability to get Zerglings obviously. But the queen means that you have slightly less lava early on and then slightly more a little bit later, so both openings are very viable. It doesn't really matter unless one of the people is going for something completely crazy. Personally, I prefer a hatch first opening, but I think a spawning pool opening is absolutely fine. It's a little bit safer obviously, and getting that queen out has advantages. Now a gas is on its way down for both players at the moment. Let me just say guys, if you like any of my casts, subscribe, like the video and leave a cool comment, that'd be great. And don't forget, I get games up every single day of the week, so check back daily for your daily dose of StarCraft 2. Anyway, what else have we got? We've got, well, not much at the moment. The first natural expansion is about to finish up. The second natural expansion is about 3/4 done, so not much of a delay there. The queen obviously is delayed a bit though. Should see the queen started any second for Eston. Double queen, there we go. Obviously one queen already out, so at least an inject behind, probably more like two. So that is a bit awkward, but it doesn't matter too much. Obviously both players being really passive. Overlord placement, good time to talk about that. I'll look at it from Eston's point of view. Overlord down here, perfect. You can see whether the third or fourth gas have been taken. Overlord in the middle shows any movement out of the base. The only way to really avoid that is to go a long way around, but probably won't be used. So that gives you some good information. Same positioning there for Myu. And obviously the third base is the only thing that hasn't been covered yet by Eston. Always put an Overlord at the third base, because you have, if you see your opponent taking their third, you know either they're vulnerable to an attack or you can definitely take your third base. So I always think leave an Overlord there. Even if it gets killed, it's one Overlord for the sake of knowing stuff. Anyway, Baneling Nest. Banelings, Banelings against no Banelings. That is always going to be a good move for the person with the Banelings. Banelings though for Myu now. Both these players are getting ready for the Ling Bling phase of this game. This is kind of phase 2. It's no longer about who has the more Zerglings, it's who has the better Baneling control ultimately. Or the Zergling control, you could argue. It's all micro. Soon we should see roaches come out as well. That is the point where it all comes down to who has the most roaches again. And well, it is all pretty hairy and pretty fun. Anyway, two Zerglings on their way in. Two queens are there though, so should deny some scouting, but of course the gas timing spotted, the Baneling Nest and Spine Crawler spotted. Both these players know what the other one's doing. Lair coming down actually for Myu, so that is the first big alteration. No lair yet for Eston. That is a big telltale. Now getting a lair that early, with the 2 gas. If these second 2 gas are taken, I will scream that it's going to be 2 base muta, and there we go, it is definitely now 2 base muta. If that doesn't go down, I would be absolutely amazed. We do have an evolution chamber coming down, which is the only bit a bit confusing to me, because generally if I'm going 2 base muta, I wouldn't get an evolution chamber, unless I was only getting a couple of mutas and not really committing to it, which again is plausible. But the second and third gas on their way down, the lair coming down as well for VFeston now, so ooh, it could be muta v muta, that's a possibility. Generally, you wouldn't get 4 gas for anything else. If you're getting roaches, you wouldn't get those 4 gas before the roach one, obviously. And also, you wouldn't be getting the lair timing so soon. Trying to think what else. Only other real thing that could potentially be is a rush to infestors, but again, that would seem a bit odd in my opinion, because you haven't got the roaches to back them up. Now, anyway, this means that this game could get pretty crazy. We've got the +1 carapace, the first spire on its way down now. Now, obviously, having that sort of 30-ish seconds advantage on your spire is huge. That'll be enough time for the first round of Mutalisks to come across the map and start dealing damage and really get you in a better position. And if you're building off both hatcheries, it can be fun. Second big variation of this game, VFeston going for that 3rd base. So that 3rd hatchery is going to be out a lot sooner. The Zerglings attempting to take out the rocks. VFeston expanding before taking out the rocks, which I actually think is a good idea, because you don't want to open up another attack path before you're really ready for it. The lair is now finished, but no sign of a spire, so this is getting a double Evo as well, so perhaps it's going to be a mass Zergling flood, and well, that's certainly what it looks like at the moment. The spire is now on the way though for VFeston, questioning the double evolution chamber. If you are going for mutas, you're not going to have enough gas off of 2 bases to do that, but of course the 3rd base is on the way out. VFeston does have more Zerglings right now, but the Baneling control is what it'll all come down to. A denial of this 3rd base is almost certain, but no cancel goes down. That is a big slip up right there. All of those Zerglings were cleaned up. That was a nice little move there. Needs to split though, because obviously there's just so many Banelings. If any of those Banelings connect well, it'll be a bad time. One Zergling trying to go to each Baneling. They are trying to pick them off as best as they can at the moment. Some more big Baneling hits go down, and for the moment, this was a big win for VFeston. Now, VFeston behind this getting up some roaches, because the concern, obviously, if you go Mutalisk, is that your opponent will just come at you with loads of mutas. 5 more Mutalisks in production now, because Mayu's attention was there defending, trying to really hold up his 3rd base. A counter push would be a big viability here, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Mayu. He's getting quite a few Banelings, and really VFeston needs to defend this well. That Overlord is finally taking some damage, but here come the Zerglings. Only 2 Banelings in there at the moment. If they get a big connection, it'll be good though. Some good hits come down on the Banelings, but there, of course, there are Mayu's Banelings on their way through. Those Zerglings need to be incredibly careful. There's an awful lot of Banelings there. That'll be very tough to deal with. The Mutalisks are on the field. They're on their way over to the main base at the moment. The 9 mutas on the way in for VFeston. The Queen gets taken down, and really there's not much that VFeston can do to defend this 3rd base. The mutas coming across. There should be more Mutalisks on the field though, or it should be actually pretty even. No, it will be 1 more as it comes in, but of course this 3rd base desperately trying to get saved. Is it going to be able to be? No, unfortunately not. Only just manages to pick it off. Meanwhile, more mutas have been seen there for VFeston, so Mayu pulling his Mutalisk back quite rightly. But the counter push coming in yet again. This 3rd base still not finished. Both players doing a great job of denying expansions, but struggling to get their own up, picking off quite a few Overlords. That Overlord was allowed to live. The mutas obviously feeling quite generous there. I'm surprised they allowed that to live, and this 3rd base is definitely gone. I don't see any way that Mayu can defend that. He may just go and counter-attack. That is always a possibility. Some mutas are looking around, trying to pick up some more stuff right now. Oh no, Mayu's Mutalisks. What am I on about though? No, it does get defended really quite easily. That was such a mislook of me right there. Anyway, more Overlords are getting picked up. Another push coming into this 3rd base here is taking a lot of damage. Those mutas are going to have to get back to defend very quickly. What are the muta numbers like at the moment? 14 to 9 in Mayu's favour. And well, that's going to change because VFeston is about to get 8 more Mutalisks up. The 3rd base was denied though. It was picked off. So that is a big loss, and it does actually mean that this base is down. The concern, of course, though, is it only has 140 HP, so just a handful of Zerglings could end that really quite quickly. We could see a muta battle here. It all comes down to who engages better, and actually VFeston with a much quicker engagement. He will now get an Overlord as his prize and save his own one. This is great map dominance. Every Overlord you pick off is obviously 100 minerals, a lava, and a potential for a supply block, which is really quite devastating in ZvZ with the way their production mechanic works. Quite a few Zerglings getting taken out here for free. And well, it's going pretty well. Neither player utilising roaches well, a handful of roaches are out for Eston at the moment, but only 5. They're really just to help prevent any Ling run-bys. Now, this third base, if that doesn't get picked off now, I'd be absolutely amazed. All of the Mewtwo's gone the other way for Myu right now. And, well, Myu, he needs to get back to defend this, but is he going to? Probably not. What are those Mewtwo's doing for Eston? They're picking off an Overlord. That is pretty much all that is going on. Just go in. Just literally one volley from those Mewtwo's will kill it. You could probably even focus on the Queen and kill it with, like, the additional hits. There's the third base about to go, but defensive Mewtwo's are on their way. The third base goes in, and who has the more Mewtwo's there? There's a tough decision to call. It looks like Eston has more on the field, but I don't know if he has more right there. The Queen obviously helping will be good. The reinforcements are there, trying to get away, but going to lose so many Mutalisks in the process of trying to escape, and so many on red health. This could be massive problems. Eston is trying to get more Mutalisks out right now, but I don't know if he will be able to get them quickly enough. This is going to be really, really close. He needs to be thinking about how he's going to defend this counter push from Mewtwo's, because there are so many there. Although splitting them up, Myu needs to be careful. Some Spore Crawlers on the way down, because he knows he could very well lose here if he's not careful. The additional Mutalisks for Eston are on their way in. This is all getting pretty crazy. Keeping the health bars up just so we can see who's coming out on top. It is definitely in the favour of Myu. The more Mutants are on their way. The Spore Crawlers nearly finishing. This is all getting absolutely hectic. Those Spore Crawlers will help massively in holding this off. The Mutalisks for Myu won't be able to engage. There's Spore Crawlers down at every base as well now, so this is quite good. But can any more queens get picked off? It would be a big win getting some queens, because of course that prevents injects, which means less lava, which means less units or drones. Talking of drones, the drone count 59 to 50 in Mayu's favour, so Myu is definitely ahead in this matchup at the moment, in my opinion. He has got 10 more Mutalisks on the field. The only concern is that he doesn't have his third base up, so he does have less production and less income, which is going to start hurting him. Spore Crawlers are trying to get in on this action right now. Mutants coming from every angle, but quite a few getting picked off. There's just too many. They're trying to bait the Mutalisks in towards the Spore Crawlers just for the additional damage. May help, but for the moment Myu is just doing a great job of controlling his Mutalisks. The Spore Crawlers, every time they get a hit off, it's always a good little win, and that was a bad engagement there for Eston. He's just letting too much go down. Meanwhile, he's looking like he's going to go for a Zergling run by counter-attack. There's Zerglings in the base for Myu as well, picking off those Spore Crawlers, trying to allow the Mutants to engage, and judging by the supply, this is very much going in Myu's favour right now. He's got, well, his opponent's got no way to deal with those Mutalisks. He doesn't have enough on the field right now. Of course, the Spore Crawlers are pretty much going to town. They will get a kill, and a lot of those Mutants are very low on health, but you can't afford to be engaging in low numbers against high numbers like that. Meanwhile, just a handful of Zerglings not doing anything down here. Big Zergling run-bys, though, right there for Myu, doing big damage. And looking at the work count, 66 to 57, an 11 advantage. 2 Spore Crawlers there, though, and Myu probably getting a little too bold, in my opinion. With those Mutalisks, he can't afford to throw them away. They are not cheap units, but with the Zergling support, they will be able to take out this third base. Meanwhile, quite a few Zerglings down here, just trying to counter-attack. They're going to go for a Queen right there. That is a good choice. Won't get it before the inject goes off, though. That would have been a nice little win. Yet more Zerglings on their way in. We've got really panicked responses from Eston now. He's getting down those Spore Crawlers. He's lost his Spire, and that could very well be the nail in the coffin. Without the Spire there, he's not going to be able to produce his own Mutalisks, and therefore has no anti-air apart from said Spore Crawlers. But on the plus side for Eston, this Zergling counterattack is going okay. He's going to pick off Queen. He's got quite a few drone kills. If we look at the drone count, though, it was completely different. And after that push was cleaned up, he just left the game. And I can understand why without a spy you can't deal with the mutants on the field. Anyway, guys, that was just a fun 1v1. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, comment, like, that would be awesome. Follow me on Twitter as well, at Madals SC2. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.